to the Indian Film Festival of Cincinnati. We are in our 6th year, and this is the second virtual edition. This year, we have 60 independent films made in 2020 and 2021 in the features, the shorts, and the documentary categories. Our films cover over 15 languages, including English, and all our films are subtitled in English. This year, we're lucky. We have close to 20 women directors as well. And I hope you do enjoy the films. So join us. With us today is the director and actor of our closing film, Freddie's Piano. His name is Aakash Prabhakar. Now, Aakash is the founder of Here and Now, a theater company based out of Bombay. It's both a theater and a film production company, both of them. And his company's objective, I understand, is to curate plays for art spaces, to conduct workshops, to conduct training programs, and to also, I guess, make films. And here we have Aakash today with his maiden film, Freddie's Piano. I do hope you'll watch it. It is so relatable, so warm, so fuzzy. You'll just love the film. And, you know, it is, in a sense, all of our stories as well. So I do hope all of you will enjoy the film. And those of you who have not watched it, I do hope you will come back and watch the film. So Aakash, it's all yours. I just want to say, now, this is your maiden venture. This is your first feature film, right?
Right. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about yourself before you got into making films. What made you think about this, and what were you doing before you got into films?
So I was always interested in storytelling and performance arts. I used to write, direct, and act plays primarily. After my mass communication days, I studied theater making and performance arts. I traveled around with plays that I used to work in as an actor, as a writer, as a director. After a few years of that, I started my company Here and Now, and I used to produce plays primarily. After a few years of producing, directing, and acting in plays, I was curious to explore the idea and the medium of making films. And I remember doing a play called Drum Roll that I produced, wrote, and acted in, where I adapted a bunch of O. Henry short stories. And one of my favorite stories from O. Henry short stories was The Gift of the Magi.
Gift of the Magi. Okay.
Yeah.
It's that's the story. That's an interesting story, right? Between a couple and how they try to make gifts for each other. Oh, lovely.
So I loved the idea of how they both want to gift each other things, and they think that that's what they would want for each other, you know, materialistic things that would make them happy. But what they really wanted was each other's company and presence and to be with each other. That story really stuck to me after making that play. And after that, after a bunch of these plays, I happened to go to New York to study films. And I was dabbling around this idea of writing this movie, Freddie's Piano. I had written 1 or 2 odd drafts. And in New York, I think I could really take some time off to understand the idea of filmmaking, the kind of thing that I would want to make the first time. Very fortunately, I also met a very close friend now who produced the film, Som Shekhar Kubri, who you've spoken to.
Yes.
We met there, and I pitched this idea to him there, actually. The story of Freddie's Piano, in fact, is pretty close to me. I used to play keyboard as a kid when I was 12, 13 years old, which is about 15 years ago. I mean, yeah, around. And I used to love listening to Western classical music. So my mom said, okay, I'm going to put you in a keyboard classes, start learning, see how you like it. Because a lot of times you start something and it doesn't go anywhere, right? You hit a wall and you move on as a kid. But I kept enjoying it. And after a few sessions, I asked her if I could have a piano in the house. Pianos then costed a couple of lakhs in Indian rupees, which is a handful sum, you know. So my mom didn't say no. She said, are you sure you want it? And I said, yeah. And she said, let me figure out a way to get it. So after a few weeks of me asking her, she said, piano is a little hard to get, Akash, but I could get you a more expensive, so to say, keyboard, the 6-octave one, you can practice all of it. And she got me one. And after a couple of years, I think she told me how hard it was for her to, dip into her savings and take on more time and more effort in her work
Oh,
so she
yeah.
gets some money in advance. Because I realized she did that because she wanted her son to play, not because of anything else. It was important that he continues playing. That story stuck to me. These plays I did about O. Henry stuck to me. And that's how I wrote the idea of Freddie's piano and I made this film.
Oh, wow. I mean, I can relate to that too. My mother played the piano, but we never did have a piano in the house. So I can relate to that story. So that's a powerful story. And so you wanted to tell it somehow, isn't it?
Yeah. When I was, so what I was really having fun while I was trying to dabble my hands at these workshops in filmmaking in New York was how specific I could be, how I could in plays we can't do a lot of things because we are bound to
Yes.
make it a protein, right? We just it's a live performance art, and you can have your big sets and you can do whatever you want, but we can't go close when you want to go close. We can't do OS when you want to.
Yeah. You
But
emote
with the idea of
differently.
we
Mm.
move differently and we think differently. But with these ideas of how I could make this as a film, a lot of ideas started pouring in on what all I could do,
Yeah.
and after a certain period of time, I think I've written about 5, 7, 8 drafts of this. And I thought this should totally be a film. And that after that is when I
So
got
that's
so
when
many.
you
Yeah.
and what led you to this young man? I believe his name is Pranav.
Right.
Yeah. What led you there and how did you find him?
Okay. That's so. After I wrote the film, I gave the script to my producer, my investor, the other producer I was collaborating with,
Mhm.
Marty, and they said, "We love the film. Let's go ahead with this." Batul Mukhtiar had helped me write the screenplay. We went back and
Mm.
forth for months. And we had decided that the film should be based out of, we were clear that it should be an Anglo-Indian family because we clearly see how the influence of jazz, the idea of being close to classical music has always been in these convent schools, in these,
Mhm.
so we were clear on that. And then we thought we should choose a town which is colorful, but and a place that would support this infrastructure, this particular
Yeah.
family being
Yeah.
there, a small town. And the obvious choice usually in Indian films that I've noticed has been Goa for this.
Yeah.
Mrs. Briganza Place, Mr.
Yeah.
Peter goes to the church,
Yeah.
etc., etc.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see what else I can try and think
Yeah.
about. And that's when we thought of Pondicherry.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Had
because
you been
I'm
there
from the,
before?
yeah, so because I'm a Tamilian, technically, I mean, I live in Bombay, but my parents were from there.
Oh,
We would
okay.
go for vacations as a kid once in a
Oh,
while.
lovely.
There's a beautiful theater there that we would visit. So that stuck to me, the colorful walls, the rhythm of that city, the people there, the lifestyle. Uh, and it seemed like a story from that town.
Yes. Yes.
That's when I took the script and I moved to Chennai to work on the film. Uh, and we started reading with kids, reading with people who we think could play, because I was clear
Yeah.
that if I could get an interesting kid who could play well and he could connect to the idea of really understanding what it means for Freddie to play and
Yeah.
really like Western classical music, we can workshop and make him act. We can workshop for months and get this right.
Yeah.
But we can't tell a kid who doesn't know how to play piano and teach him how to play.
Yes, that's true.
Uh,
That's
so
true.
there's a music conservatory in Chennai called KMMC that Mr. Rahman's, I think, family runs.
Oh, Mr.
If I'm not
Rahman's family runs.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
his daughter, if I'm not mistaken, and there's a big team behind that. Very, very,
Yeah.
really nice people. So Som, my producer and my investor, he sort of got in touch with them, and we told them this whole situation of we're trying to cast for a kid, and would you be willing to help us? And they're very, very sweet. They said, please come over. So the next 2, 3, 4 days, we kept going and we kept seeing kids play.
Yeah.
You would just quietly go by in the corner and see a kid playing Chopin. You would quietly see a kid playing Beethoven. After a few of these, I think, met Pranav. Very oblivious about why these two men are there in the room asking him to play. Very oblivious about, I mean, he had no idea that we are trying to make a movie or we are trying to cast him. We just asked him to play and
Yeah.
very very happily he sat down in the chair and he played some Mozart symphony with like a lot of ease and simplicity. Uh, and then we just told him that he might be in our movie, and he said, "What?" And he just went back to his house that night. We had dinner. We told him the script. We said, "Let's try an audition. Let's try and read and see how it goes." Uh, and that's how we sort of got to Pranav, and that's how we got him.
Oh my gosh. And you both do look like brothers, and you fit into that role so easily. And it was a joy to watch. So tell me about the grandmother now. Did you have a relationship with your grandmother? And did you have a young
As Aakash or as Aiden?
No, as Aakash.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm very close to my grandmother. Party, Tamilians call them Party.
Yes.
I grew up with her actually. My parents always had their work. So dad used to work, mom had her own business. So I lived with my grandmother and my grandfather. And so that I don't miss my parents too much, my grandmother would tell me stories. So I think maybe that's where I started.
So you're a bit like Shah Rukh Khan. He lived with his grandparents too.
Oh really?
I don't know. Yeah, he was in Bangalore. In fact, he was on my same street. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. When he was little. Yeah. Yeah. It's coming back to the film, I was just thinking the lighting and the way, the ambiance of the film and the way you chose to light those indoor scenes. Tell me a bit about that. What mood were you trying to evoke? And
so when I was trying to write the story, I realized it's a sweet story. It's not a happy story. It's not an epic. It's a very simple, sweet, almost so to say sad story, right? About two brothers who lost their parents. They are stepbrothers. The elder brother can't afford to buy his younger brother a piano. So when you say it like this, it almost seemed a little sad. But I didn't want to make it look sad. I was very clear of that. So I was trying to subvert the whole thing. I was trying to see if I can completely play the opposite. So let the brothers be sad, but the frames look beautiful.
Yeah.
The frames are colorful. The clothes are colorful. The music is cheerful and uplifting.
Yeah.
The town is not sleepy. It's colorful. They're all there for each other.
Yes.
And even with lighting and even with our scenes, that's what we were going for. Me and the cinematographer Sandeep, who did a great job in this, understood that let's not make a film or a scene look dull because the characters are talking about things that might seem dull, because then it seemed like exposition at points.
Yeah.
Even with music we had the same problem, because a lot of times when sad scenes have sad music, I feel we lose the purpose there, because we got to know that it's sad. We hear the characters speaking and telling us that it's a sad scene. So I think that was our idea. I don't know how yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting take, but it came across really, really well. And I know that all of us at the festival really enjoyed it, and that's why your film was chosen as the closing film.
That was really sweet. It was an honor. Thank you so much for having my film actually.
Absolutely.
In this festival. I also know that a couple of other films that I think my co-producer Marty Vanan has produced has also been here. I think Nasir was here.
Which one?
Nasir was here, I think.
Oh, Nasir, yeah.
Nirvana was here, yeah. So
yes, absolutely. And that was a beautiful film too. I mean, that film still haunts me. Very, very well done. I mean, all of your filmmakers are just awesome. So kudos to all of you. Aakash, you want to tell us about any upcoming projects? What should we be looking out for? And one more question I have after that is, tell me something fun that happened on your set that made you laugh.
Tell me something fun that happened on the set that made me laugh.
Or made you cry.
A lot of things actually. In these independent films, what I've realized is that because we are trying to shoot as much as we can in as little time as we can, quick experiences keeps happening. But I remember in Koshi's house, Mrs. Koshi's house, when we
Yeah.
were shooting. We all knew the grandmother. Leela Sampson is a very popular
Yeah.
celebrity in the South. She's been very well known for her contribution to the dance circle, for her performances in films. And we were all very, very excited that,
Yeah.
she's going to come. But Freddie didn't. He's a kid who hasn't seen
Yeah.
Bharatanatyam
Yeah.
performances.
Mhm.
And he had to wear a tie at that time, the piano tie. And he tried wearing it and he had no idea how to wear it. So Leela Sampson came very sweetly to him and said, "Come here, let me teach you how to tie a tie."
Mm.
And she helped him tie a tie. And we were all telling him, "Do you realize Leela Sampson taught you how to tie a tie? It's a big deal for you." He said, "I have no idea." He had no.
I was hoping to
Um,
meet her too. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
kept happening with him because he had never done a movie before. He was just being himself. He never realized the idea. Even in school scenes, his
Mm.
best friend Chittu had done serials and television serials and ads and movies before. So everybody recognized him, but not Freddie.
Mm.
And they would all assume Freddie is some bigger superstar from some. And he's like, I have no idea why these guys are looking at me because he was very, very
That's so charming. That is indeed
yeah. And
charming. And
very sweetly, we together figured out in Pondicherry, I think what happens is the minute you hold a big camera and you see, and people see that you're shooting, they think it's some big shooting situation happening with celebrities, but it was just us. So I figured an interesting hack. The minute you go and tell people that it's a documentary and there's nobody known in this, nobody cares about it. They just run away. Nobody cares about it anymore.
that's crazy. That's a lot of fun. And the weather, was
Yeah.
the weather nice when you were there, or was it sweltering?
When we started, it was very hot.
Yeah.
Uh, and then as we went along, the seasons kept changing.
Mhm.
Uh, and we kept doing schedules after schedule. So we would first finish the Pondi schedule, the indoor schedule, the church schedule. So
Ah,
seasons, we had our own turn of exploring all the seasons of the
ah.
time.
So, yeah, yeah, lovely, lovely. I think I'm so glad that you chose Pondicherry, and like you so rightly said, a lot of the films go down to Goa, but this was really a welcome change, and I love the colors in the film as well. So I want to go back to my previous question, which was, um, what's in the future? Tell us, Akash.
um, so we are still traveling to film festivals. We are figuring out distribution for Freddie's Piano with my producers.
Mhm,
Lockdown sort of gave me a lot of time to write more.
mhm.
Uh, so I'm still exploring the idea of migration and the stories that sort of were hampered, love stories that couldn't happen because of COVID, stories that could have happened because of COVID.
Mm,
Because it was hard here in India, right? All overnight, suddenly we were told that we are going to be in a lockdown.
correct.
So I'm trying to explore the idea of modern love stories and love stories in the time of these migration crises, these migration problems. Uh,
Oh, that sounds fascinating. Yeah,
yeah,
we're going to look forward to that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you, Akash. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here with
Thank
us.
you so much for having me here. Your festival lineup looks beautiful. I saw all the films.
Oh, you
I don't
did.
know. Yeah, it is beautiful. All of these films look amazing, and I'm so excited and I'm so thankful to you for making me my film a part of this. And thank you
Absolutely.
so much from the entire team of Freddie's Piano.
Absolutely. And I hope you get to watch all of the films and use our
Yeah,
festival pass. So
yeah.
we look forward to feedback from you as well, so we can be better each year. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man.
It was lovely talking to you.